Mike Hargett. He's a good friend of mine. I'm here to interview him because he's a veteran of the Gulf War, Desert Storm. So go ahead, Mike.
Hi, my name is Michael Hargett, and I served in Desert SEAL, Desert Storm. Um, Currently, when I was notified I was going to deploy, I was working for a Patriot unit, working in the battalion headquarters, working on the S3 for plans and operations, for all of the training doctrine that was to be published and used for the soldiers doing peacetime training. I worked in the intelligence van for Air Defense Operations Intelligence. So my job when I got there, we set up camp, and we were in a two-story cinder block building just outside the King Khalid International Airport in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. But we were deployed out of Fort Bliss, Texas, which is now called the Air Defense Center of Excellence, and I had just trained over as a intelligence guy to an actual line soldier working on the Patriot missile system. But because of my experience in the intelligence, my sergeant major said I'd go ahead and work in the battalion operations center because that's where my experience was largely. Our job there was to go ahead and relay all classified information and sensitive materials, things of that nature, which I obviously can't talk about, to and from different line units from the headquarters, different aspects of our mission, in covering the air defense coverage to protect our assets that were on the ground. We were theater air defense, which means we were largely responsible for the whole air defense picture for all the forward line units that were needed to be protected, and all of our assets protected from incoming missiles. The missile threat back then was the Al Hussein missile and the Scud A and Scud B missiles. We had to make sure that we were watching the scopes 24/7 on our radar pictures. And the real challenge then was because the satellite telemetry that we had at the time could not distinguish whether or not, when they saw a heat signature, whether it was a Scud missile that was being launched from the ground, or if it was our Tornadoes and all the other aircraft that were being used to fly across the neutral zone into Iraq, that would drop their ordnance and then hit their afterburners to get out of there. Because when they hit their afterburners, all the heat would rush out of the back of their aircraft and light up our radar scopes with a big heat signature. So we didn't know if that heat signature was an actual missile being launched on the ground, or if it was just a pilot hitting his afterburners after dropping ordnance. So that was one of the challenges, to make sure that if we did have a heat signature, we did have a track associated with the heat signature that would show a missile profile. So that's kind of what I did during the Gulf War. Of course, I did a lot of encryption and decryption and classified messages and things like that, just to try and relay what was going on to our line units and other key assets that were located in Saudi Arabia. Since the Gulf War, I had also been deployed for other years of my service over there. Obviously, I was deployed for Desert Shield, Desert Storm, 1990-91. I was deployed again out of Patriot Missile Battalion in Germany in 92, with continuing deployments in 95 and 98. So total of 5 deployments, 90, 91, 92, 95, and 98. Since then, my active duty, I retired in 99, and I left the air defense and came here to Indiana. Was stationed at Camp Atterbury for the last 8 years of my 22 years in the Army. Of course, it was on a reserve status. I had 14 years active duty, and the last 8 years have been reserve. And I kind of just wrapped up my career here in Indiana, and helping all of the transportation units from Indiana, Ohio, and Michigan deploy for the global war on terrorism, for the war in Iraq, Afghanistan, other assets in Bosnia, Serbia, but just to make sure that they had the best intelligence we were getting on the ground as far as the IED, the improved explosion device, for that war. But we had assets on the ground that were evaluating how they were attacking our convoys. So my job was basically to take that intelligence and train Ohio, Indiana, and Michigan transportation units how to react to sniper fire, blocked, unblocked ambush, and how to evaluate IEDs and clear an area and move on, continue the mission. So that's basically my military career in a nutshell and my piece in the Gulf War.
All right, thank you very much, and I appreciate your time and
Th-
for your service.
Thank you.